I went to therapy long
During
before I got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to therapy initially because I was dissatisfied with work and career. I did all the things that I was supposed to do. Go to school, get a degree, then you should work for the government because that's job security. My parents are immigrants. That's what they did. They worked with the government till they retired. I did all the things that I was supposed to do, and I was still very unhappy.
Yeah.
So I went to therapy to work through some of those feelings of dissatisfaction and listlessness or joylessness or depression, and the fact that I didn't get what I was supposed to get out of life.
You're on the mountain. This happens, right? The cartoon happens, and then
there was a lot of fear. And again, and I can recognize this and articulate it clearly now, but there was in that moment a loss that I continue to grieve and continue to grieve till this day. But I didn't know how to I didn't understand it then.
How do you and Sam recover from that moment, like days and weeks and months after? Like, because I'm sure, one, like you said, you're grieving that moment, but you mentally, you probably revert back to that moment because you need to be aware, right? You're not necessarily always walking on eggshells, but you're aware of where it could go.
Yes. I don't think within the marriage I recovered.
Does he know? Like, does he know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a conversation that we had in the marriage.
Why not?
I didn't have the language. I didn't have the awareness.
Yeah.
I didn't have what it took then to bring up that conversation and to work through what happened in that moment with me.
Not in that moment, but like, didn't you guys talk about it afterwards? How could you not have?
Yeah, but talk about it in a like, hey, let's make sure this doesn't happen again. Let's talk, let's speak like this to one another in more of a performative and prescriptive way, but not in a deep-seated, like, what broke on the inside? What disappeared? What was lost? What,
How did you think about how that made me feel? Okay, so what was going on to your understanding? Because you talked about how we move forward, how we conduct ourselves moving forward. Yeah. But women like to get to the emotion of things. I don't know if guys, and I don't know if Sam likes to get to the emotion of things, or, not all, but, and I don't want to put it on you. So what was his take?
I wasn't there either at the time.
What do you mean?
So I wasn't there in terms of recognizing how deeply I was hurt.
Excuse me.
In that moment.
Okay.
Or how it affected my way of being and showing up in the marriage. Like, I wouldn't have known at that time. Like, I've done a lot of reflection, and I mean, growth happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A whole profession.
Right. A whole profession happens.
Right. Yeah.
So I have a lot of insight now that I did not
have then. Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah. But you both are.
Even to call it grief right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. At the time, I wouldn't be like, oh my goodness, I'm grieving. No.
Yeah.
What is that?
No. You're just sad.
Yeah.
And scared. Yeah. But even when like I've got into arguments, and maybe I'm not thinking about like what's going on with you that you like, you know what I mean? Maybe I wouldn't have been thinking about that like that before. But for the person who is acting out, lashing out, they have a better understanding to a degree of what's going on with them. So even when
this is an assumption.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And I don't think that was the case with him.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're hoping to have a conversation with Sam as well. So you find out, we're going to skip ahead now. Things are going on. We understand that something was seeded the next day. The marriage is over 1 year and 1 day after
1 year, 1 year and 2 days.
1 year and 2 days. Man, the timing is actually
I
so
know.
sad.
I know.
Like the day after the marriage, something happened, something died. A year and 2 days. Like it's how it began is how it ended.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a long year, to say the least, of trying to recover, and trying to grapple with the disappointment of continued outbursts, continued what it in my mind felt like very terrible treatment.
How many times did you want to end the marriage within that year? Was there multiple times?
I wouldn't say I actually wanted to end the marriage.
Okay.
I think I was just very struck by the fact that, like, in my mind, ending the marriage wasn't like an option. It was like,
right,
unless you cheat on me, like, that's not, like, we work it out.
We work it out.
We work through whatever's going on.
Were there other people that were helping you guys work through things? Like, were you going to the church to get help? Were you going to counseling to get help? Like, or was it kind of like, let's talk about it. Listen, honey bunny, we can't be. You kind of like talking through the things, because there's good times, there's bad times, there's things happen. There's life happening, right?
I think there was an aversion to bringing anybody into the mix.
Okay.
At that time, it was like, oh, it's the first year. It's like the hardest time. We're trying to figure out how to live together.
Right.
Okay, let's just sort of work it out as best we can.
Yeah.
Right. And so in my mind, it was like, Jen, do your best. It will get better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Are you speaking to any friends or family, like extended family, like whoever you're really close with? Are you confiding in them with like?
No. Our culture is not very like open when it comes to, or upfront when it comes to divulging information about personal relationships, especially about what's going on in your marriage. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
And even if it were a thing, I wouldn't have had the ability or the trust to do that at the time. And then the space for that. Like, who am I going to go talk to?
Yeah.
Like, if that hasn't been part of my natural way of being with others, to be vulnerable or transparent about the things that are painful or that are harming me or hurting me in my life, like, that's not all of a sudden going to come up just because I'm married.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm still following a pattern of relationship that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
The rules are the rules. You handle the stuff that are dirty, ugly, harmful, hurtful, whatever. You handle it on your own.
Yeah. What happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah. Right.
It's like.
So there's a sense of secrecy. There's an element of secrecy there, but also there's also an element of protection.
Yeah, because you also want to protect the marriage.
I want to protect the marriage, but I also want to protect the those looking from the outside in, from becoming as disappointed or hurt as I am.
Yeah.
Because to share that with my mom, my goodness, I'm her only daughter. I'm her only child now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, now my daughter's in this crazy relationship. To tell my best friends, it's like, oh, they've, I was the first to get married amongst them. And it's like, now she's, oh, we were kind of rooting for you, Jen, but now if you failed, like, what about us? What hope is there, kind of thing? Like,
yeah. I think there's two sides. There's that side, but then there's also like the risk of, when you tell somebody something that's happening, then they can't let it go, even if you move past it. Yeah. So like you get into an argument and they're like, okay, you get into another argument. They're like, okay, by the third argument, they're like, so what's happening? Like, why are you still
like,
in
you
that?
need to leave him. Like,
yeah, exactly. Right. Like,
I'm very fortunate. My friends aren't quite like that.
Good.
But yeah, I think there is that element to it as well. Because, there is that level of like shame that comes along with it. Like, oh man, like, I promised all these people that came to my wedding that this was a thing. We were going to be together forever. We're going to work through all these things, and I'm having all these problems that I didn't expect or anticipate. And I don't know who to talk to, because I don't know how well they can, like, how are they going to help?
So Jen lost her job at some point early in the marriage. and you decided to go back to school,
Mhm.
and you went back to school and you got your degree. I envision, yay, that sound effect. And she got the degree and now she is a psychotherapist,
Mhm.
right? That's why the yay. Sorry, I said the yay faster then. She got this degree. Okay, girl. And she had one before. No, I just mean like she became a psychotherapist. And
Mhm.
did you know you wanted to become a psychotherapist?
No, I wasn't studying to become a psychotherapist. That came later. I was actually going to be a preacher. I was going to be a preacher. Yeah, I thought I was going to be a preacher. Earlier on in my life, I was like, I'm going to Bible college. I'm going to be a preacher. Travel the world and preach. Anybody would call me preach.
I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, something shifted in and around there, just in terms of my own development and growth, and wanting to learn more about that aspect and area of life. And people just kept talking to me. So it was kind of like
issues, about their stuff that's going on, their stuff. Yeah.
So it wasn't even like I found this profession and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It was almost like this profession found me and said, you're going to do this. Like, you just, people are going to talk to you. You need to figure out what kind of skills you need in order to help them.
Sometimes your friends are not your therapists. I just want to say that.
All the time, your friends are not your therapists. Your friends are not your therapists. I just want to say that. Yes, because people think that there's a crossover. There isn't. Your friends are your friends. And that's the thing. We need to learn our roles in life, okay?
Yeah.
If you're a friend, be a friend. If you're a therapist, be a therapist. If you're a sister, be a sister, okay? Your friends don't need to tell you what to do. My friends don't tell me what to do, right? Your therapist even shouldn't tell you what to do.
No.
I don't tell my clients what to do. Anyway.
I ask my friends when they call me, what do you want me to be at this moment? Do you want me to listen? Or do you want to hear my opinion? Like, what do you need from me at this moment? Yes,
absolutely.
That's
a great question.
I can't.
It's a great question.
One, I have to understand what capacity I can take on. But sometimes you just need someone to listen. Yeah. Right? You don't need to hear, girl, no. Right. You just need someone to vent to. But I have to make sure that I can take that vent. Because if it's too heavy for me, what do? You just dumped all this trauma on me. And now I feel awkward and I don't even understand what's going on with my emotions. So I'm a bit I'm a bit self-aware of like, what you doing? Nah, girl, I can't listen to this right now. I got to focus on my business. Like, you know what I mean? I got things to do. Right. So, but
and it's interesting that you say that. I think my capacity for holding space for others is large. Yeah. So it does come somewhat naturally.
Yeah. Hence psychotherapist. Yeah. So I looked up psychotherapist. Psychotherapy refers to a variety of treatments that aim to help a person identify and change troubling emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. When you were naturally doing it, and then you get into this profession, and you're like, oh, no, was there a moment, no assumption, trying to not have assumptions here, where you're like, oh, now I can understand some of the behaviors?
I never thought about it like that. I mean, I was separated long before I graduated.
Oh, okay.
And so that was like a part of my past.
Right.
It was in the rear view mirror. So I didn't even think about Samuel. I didn't think about like understanding him or spending time trying to figure out, that aspect of things. I think in terms of my own self-reflection, my own therapy, for sure. Like how I showed up, how I responded, what I wanted to do going forward, my own transformation process. Yeah. In relationship, in romantic relationships specifically. But yeah, I think I actually haven't thought about it. My thoughts really focused around me and processing a lot of the emotions and feelings that were present, that I wasn't aware of, and that were still impacting and affecting my life. Yeah. Way after the separation, way after the divorce was filed, way after, even till today. Yep. I am daily confronted with the messiness and the mismanagement of relationships. Yep. and I feel and experience the impact of a marriage that I walked into and I decided to commit my life to that ended in divorce. And we're 10 years out. So
Yeah.
I am daily doing work, my
Mhm.
own work, and work with others.
Yeah.
And I'm still working through the impact of a divorce 10 years ago. Well, maybe not a divorce, but a separation and a broken marriage 10 years ago.
You're literally taking us down the path where I want us to go. Because I seen you stand at the doorway a couple of days ago, I did see a different side of you. And I think that's what made me think she's still going through it, or what is going on with Jen? Like, let's check in with Jen. So the reason I brought up psychotherapy is because, yes, now you're a psychotherapist, but at what point did you start seeking therapy?
Ooh. Yeah.
Were you still, was it after the divorce or?
No.
Mhm.
I went to therapy long
During
before I got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to therapy initially because I was dissatisfied with work and career.
Okay.
I did all the things that I was supposed to do. Hey, you should go to school, get a degree, then you should work for the government because that's job security and so on. So I did all the things.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are immigrants. That's what they did. They worked with the government till they retired.
Yeah.
Get your pension, whatever. So I did all the things that I was supposed to do, and I was still very unhappy.
Yeah.
Very unhappy. So I went to therapy to work through some of those feelings of dissatisfaction and listlessness or joylessness or depression. With life, and the fact that I didn't get what I was supposed to get out of life, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was years and years before I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And that started me on a journey of figuring out what it is I really wanted to do, mm-hmm. and allowing that to be my first priority. And really pouring into relationships as a source of purpose and fulfillment, mm-hmm. in life.
When did you make the connection, or I don't know if this is the right way to ask it. When did you think that you need to look at therapy for what's happening in this relationship or after the relationship ended? Because you were looking at it from a lens of my career and my focus and like, what's my purpose in life? But as you find yourself in this space where I want to say that situation that you described, or maybe the outbursts, were they abusive outbursts? Not abusive in any other way, but like
no, abusive. They're abusive.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're using the right terminology. Abusive outbursts. At what point did you think, maybe I need to go to therapy to deal with what's happening with me, or how I deal, like, because of the situation I'm in or out of? Because I don't know at what point you started to go.
Well, it was years after we got separated.
Okay.
We separated a year and two. Well, in my mind, I decided that I was walking away from the marriage a year and 2 days in.
Hold on. It always happens in the woman's mind first.
Absolutely.
Just so you know.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I made the decision, and we actually went to counseling afterwards.
Okay.
So the point of counseling afterwards was to separate well. Like, I was very keen, very aware that separations and breakups, like, they have a way of leaving collateral damage, like, and damage that is so, like, it's so powerful. The damage is so deep and so powerful that it affects generations to come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I do.
You look back on parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and so on. Like, there are generations that are affected by relational disruptions or relational breaks or separations, right? It's like this person separated from this person, then they got with this person, then this happened, then this, and then now these people, and now there's a whole family here, and now this, like there's just so much.
It just gets passed down.
Exactly.
You can even say the behavior of secrecy within the household, especially within like the Black household, like that is generational trauma.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
What happens in this house stays in this house. Yeah. There's a component of that is privacy and respect, and there's a component of that is trauma.
Absolutely. And the way to tell the difference is to determine whether or not that thing is connected to shame. So secrecy, privacy, they can be debated, right? But if it's connected back to a source of shame, usually that's going to have detrimental effects.
I like this. I actually, like I said, I'm the wall in this studio. And I'm always telling my clients to go deeper. And I had a client in here and I said, listen, if you're on the mic, you could decide what you want to give, right? It's entirely up to you. You protect yourself first. But you got to get to an element of where no one can shame you, right?
Exactly.
Good or bad, whatever you've done, you got to get to a point where no one can shame you, because that means you have like this internal peace with yourself, regardless of what you've done.
Exactly.
Right? So people can talk the talks, but as long as you feel whole and you've put it to bed I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but yeah, you let go of the shame.
A level of self-reflection, self-evaluation, introspection, and then that leads to self-acceptance.
Yeah.
So a deep level of self-acceptance can lead you to self-love.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, and that, my friends, is self-love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true.
That's, if you really want to know what self-love is, that is self-love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard to get there.
Yeah.
It's hard to get there. And the messaging around self-hatred is so much more prevalent, right? You shouldn't actually like that part of yourself. In fact, nobody else likes that part of yourself. So you should try to hide it, or you should try to cut it off. You should try to pretend that it's not there.
Change
you
it.
should try to, all the things. But we're talking about things that are past. We're not talking about things that are future.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense. Like you can't cut off parts of yourself. Like that's
you can, but
no, you actually can't.
Well, actually, no. And we're talking about internally. So yeah.
There's no way. And everything that has happened, everything that we've experienced, everything that we've gone through, everything that we've done, all the choices that we've made, I've made some crazy decisions in my life. Like I am not perfect at all. Just because I'm self-aware, just because I work in this field, it doesn't mean that I don't have days. And I mean, days today, we're talking now. I'm not talking about 10 years ago, 20 years ago when, oh my God, I was less mature. I'm talking like now, like last week. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I make crazy decisions about my life. I make terrible choices, right? But at the end of the day, I can own that all of those choices are continuously leading me to becoming the person that I want to be. Yeah. The person that I say that I am and the person that I am in the flesh. Right. There's congruency. And I think a lot of the times we find it difficult we find it difficult to achieve that. Yeah. Because we're saying one thing and doing another. No, I'm very clear on, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm like, my ego needs a little boost and I'm going to get on the phone or send a text or, do that in order to get some attention or to get my intimacy needs met for that day. Yeah. And I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Am I proud of it?
Yeah. Probably not.
Would I advise somebody else to do it?
Heck no. Yeah.
But am I doing it? And am I conscious and aware? Yes. Have I accepted that in that moment, this is the way that I'm choosing to meet that need? Yes. Right. Do I want to become more evolved?
Yeah.
Yes. Am I moving towards that?
Slowly, eventually.
Exactly.
But none of us are perfect, though.
We're not
perfect. So we don't need to even pretend that we're perfect, right?
Not even close.
Yeah.
Right. And nobody wants to connect to a perfect person.
True. Because they're not perfect either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I would just feel terrible.
Yeah.
Like if I'd be like, every day I'd be like, oh man, you're so great. And I'm so not.
I don't know if I'd feel that way. I'd be like, look, accept me how I am.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So eventually you get into therapy. Sorry, before I go there, I like that you guys did this. So you separate well.
Yes. So separating well is very important,
Yeah.
I think, to mitigate against some of the damage. And I'm a product of my parents got divorced when I was 16.
Yeah.
Or my parents separated when I was 16. I don't know when they actually got divorced, but I'm a product of a separated home, divorced parents. So I have felt some of the effects.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, yes, in the home, but also being in a society and amongst friends who had their parents and their parents were together, and, you know, seeing how they interacted as a family, and feeling a sense of like loss as it pertains to that. And, you know, like there were a lot of things that I experienced that I knew could potentially affect me negatively, based on a breakup or a divorce. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to buy in to this process because I want to separate well in order to decrease the likelihood of some of these
things being passed on or passed outwards, projected onto others.
Yeah. I mean, destructive behavior, like when you go through a breakup or divorce, like there are a lot of questions about, I know I had a lot of questions about like whether I was lovable, whether I was desirable, whether I was deserving. Like there's a lot of like identity questions that come up, especially out of divorce. It's a very weird thing. It's like, but we plan to spend our lives together. And now
it's almost, is it like, what did I do wrong? Or
and because I'm the one who decided to get the divorce, it was a lot of questioning my judgment. Like, how in the world did I get into this? Like, how did I choose this person?
I thought you were talking about judgment of like coming out, but you're now judging going in.
Yeah, of course. Right, because you have to look back and be like, how did I miss like all these things? How did I miss all
when
these
you
pieces?
Looked back, did you see signs that you missed? No. Okay.
No. I was completely blindsided. Yeah. And I still find it difficult to this day. I'm still single to this day. I'm unmarried.
Before you say you're single, but have you been in any other relationships?
Yeah.
And did you feel the residue? I don't know. Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. There are doubts that come up still today, about my ability to choose a partner who's going to stand the test of time with me.
It's
and I'm a lot more involved today, which is
absolutely. It feels it feels heavy.
It is. It's a responsibility. There's a weight there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, but you're not like, we just called it, like, we're not perfect, so we're not going to pick the perfect person. But yes, you deserve that happiness, that love, and someone that meets all of the values and can protect and
and I want that. I want that more than accepting and recognizing or believing that I can have it and that I deserve it. I want it. There's a desire for it. And so that puts me in a precarious position at times.
I was just saying to someone, I think I was saying on my own solo episode I just dropped a couple of days ago, that like what you want wants you to. So like your person, I was saying that what you want, it's kind of just magnetizing to each other. Like it's coming as you, there's something that needs to happen. Either they're still healing and going through things and growing, or you're still going through things and growing.
Something's happening.
you're getting to the point where I can't remember whose ideas was it to do the podcast, to start this podcast.
Thank you all for joining us today. Make sure if you haven't that you like, follow, share, subscribe. We'd love to have you, and we'll see you again soon.